It is so important, first of all, I think, for young people of color to be able to see themselves in the industry. The quality of the art, I think, is only improved by having multiple viewpoints, multiple backgrounds, multiple stories to be told. And so I think for that reason, it's so important to have as many of us from as many different paths as possible, contributing to the stories that we're telling.
My name is Lisa Dawn Cave, and I'm a founder of Black Theater United. Welcome to Before the Curtain Rises, the Designer Series. It is really important as we continue to uplift Black lives that we are really articulating the different disciplines of design in the theater industry. Now let's welcome Sarafina Bush, our costume designer.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Wonderful. So this is just going to be a conversation for us to get to know you and to find out about the discipline of costume design. So I'm going to start with, where are you from?
I am from right here, New York City, specifically Brooklyn, Flatbush.
Woo woo.
Yeah.
I'm from Brooklyn too. I'm from Brownsville.
Love.
There you go.
Love that.
Fantastic. And did you always want to be a costume designer? Did you know that it was an actual career?
No, I had no idea that it was a career. So no, I didn't always want to be a costume designer. I always loved the arts. I loved dance. I loved musical theater. I knew that I wanted to be involved somehow, but as a kid, for me, that was performing. So I was a dancer for a long time before I found costumes.
I was a dancer too.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, my goodness.
What kind of dance did you do?
Well, when I was growing up in Brownsville, I didn't have any formal training. So I did community center African dance. And then my mom realized, wait a minute, she really likes this.
Yeah.
So my mother found the High School of Performing Arts.
Oh, cool.
So thank goodness, because it was a public school that was geared to the arts. And I auditioned and got in, and that's where I had my formal training: ballet, modern, character, tap, everything.
So cool.
How about you? Dance.
I also started out taking African dance at actually at Brooklyn College. As part of the CUNY program. They had classes every Saturday for kids.
Right.
So I would go. My mom worked at Brooklyn College, so I would take African dance classes, and then started doing some ballet, started doing some modern, some tap.
Wow. Well, look at that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, tell us, how did you get into wanting or liking, I guess, costumes? how did you get into it?
Yeah, through dance, actually. When I went to college, I started out as a dance major at Adelphi University. At that point, I knew that I was primarily focusing on modern dance. I was really into all of the Paul Taylor, the Graham, the Horton, all of that.
Yes.
Training was really my focus. And so I had to take some tech classes as part of that major, as part of the requirements. Every semester, we had to do tech hours in one of the departments. Luckily for me, my first assignment was wardrobe at the same time that I was doing my intro to costumes class.
Wow.
My professor asked how I liked the class, and I said, yeah, costumes are fun. I like clothes. I like looking through the text, talking about character, and he asked if I wanted to study it some more. And so I started doing independent studies with him. He asked me to assist him on the main stage musical that was the following year, which was Rent. I went to Adelphi University, which is where Jonathan Larson went. So we were the first university locally who had the rights to do Rent after it closed on Broadway.
Wow. Okay.
So that I was able to assist on that show and had a lot of fun and just kept doing it in college and still didn't really process that it was a career that I could have. It still felt like, this is a fun hobby that I could do on the side if I'm not dancing, not performing.
Right. Do you consider that professor a mentor, or did you have a mentor after college? Or
not formally. He definitely helped me figure out that it was a career. He gave me a lot of advice. He told me not to go directly into grad school after graduating and to try working first.
Okay.
Which was how I ended up making a career out of this, was going to the public theater and applying to their internship. And I just so happened to be in the right place at the right time. They were still looking for one more costume intern the summer that I was graduating. And
right. Wow. You know, it's something, I'm listening to you and I'm looking at the journey, and like I said, I was a dancer and I was a modern major. I have to admit, my love was Limon and stuff, but the things that you named. Do you think that your studies as a dancer and the body really influenced or give you a certain mind or transition into costumes?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think first and foremost, it gave me a lot of empathy for my performers. And so one of my favorite things about being a costume designer is getting to the point that I'm in a fitting and getting to work with another human being and having a conversation that's really actually another step in the collaboration process of figuring out what the costume is, what feels right on their specific body. And that's because I recall several performances where I showed up and there was my costume and there was no wiggle room for what it could be, and feeling just so incredibly uncomfortable in that costume. So for sure, that definitely gave me an entry point. It's one of my entry points into the costume design. But of course, understanding what a body needs to be able to do is really essential.
I guess so, because you can say to yourself, you can look at a character and go, oh, that would look fantastic in this lovely, tight fitting. And then you find out the choreography has them doing all this dancing. And so you go, okay. They have to move in this too.
I mean, we're sitting in front of this wall of denim. That this was one of the examples of that on The Outsiders, was that we discovered pretty early on in the process in our fittings that all of the really period appropriate, like rigid vintage denim of the era, 1967, was not going to give our dancers the range of motion that they needed. They're doing so much on that stage. I think you said you saw the show.
Amazing.
They're doing a lot. And having that understanding of dance, of movement, of bodies, allowed me to say, you know what? This is not going to be the right thing for this show. And that's okay. And we're going to find another way to get at the right period. And still allow our performers to move and be comfortable. Yeah.
There you go. That's great. So there's a lot of research that goes into when you do a show, like period, what was the material at that time, what was the look at that time, all that goes into planning?
Yeah, absolutely. For The Outsiders, again, I was able to get my hands on, this was very exciting as someone who is also a little bit of a history nerd. I was able to find a few copies of 17 and Teen magazine from 1966, 1965, 1964, 1967. And so I was able to have the actual hard copies of the magazines that these teenagers might have been looking at, to be able to look at what were the advertisements, what were they wearing in the advertisements, what were they talking about.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. That's great. I always have to tell you, when I sit and talk to the different designers and disciplines, I learn so much.
Yeah.
I do. Sure. I love this because I'm learning so much about, how things are put together, how much research, like you said, goes into it, the importance of actually, if it's a period piece. I think of everything as a period piece because you're going to go whatever period that is in, right? So, yeah, that's great. How did you know that this career was for you? Like, was there something inside that said, this is my calling, I guess, so this is what I want to do?
Yeah, it was a combination of a whole lot of things that I initially didn't know was what was put together to create a costume designer. I've always loved reading. I have always loved text analysis. Before I changed from a dance major to a French major. Before I did that, I went through looking at English. So literature, text analysis. I looked at psychology, understanding of people, understanding of people's brains, how they function.
Okay.
My parents are sociologists, looking at power dynamics and systems, class, race, identity. All of those things were things that were deeply interesting to me and deeply embedded in the way that I looked at clothes.
Oh, okay.
I can remember for a long time, since I was a little girl, having an understanding that the outfits that I was choosing or the outfits that other people were choosing were signifiers of how they identified or how they wanted to present themselves to the world. And so having that understanding is something that I think made it for a very natural transition into becoming a costume designer. Those are the questions that I am constantly asking of characters as I'm looking at a show.
That makes a lot of sense what you just said, because what someone wears, right, is something about them. And I have to say that I find this hilarious because my mother, I love her dearly. She's the best woman in the world. But she constantly, like when I'll go, she goes, "What do you have on?" And I used to get, "When are you going to like dress your age?" Or like how old you are. And I'm like, well, really, what is that? Mom, what is that? I love you dearly, but this is me. This is what I like wearing, and this is who Lisa is. And I mean, the only people that can do that is Mom, right? Which is fine. No one else. But I find that interesting because there was a certain clothing that I like to wear that I felt defined me. And you know what? It actually changed over time.
Yes.
Like when I was a dancer and younger,
absolutely,
there was that way of looking and wearing and walking and feeling. And then when I transitioned into stage management, it changed because of the fact that I also had to like where I was in the theater, was I in the grunge compared to on the stage as the actor? So that changed, because of the atmosphere, but still like when I was outside of what I liked wearing and how I liked feeling comfortable and how I look at it as, okay, when I'm running to the football game or when I'm running to here or when I'm running to a gala, you know, and you think of all those things.
Yeah.
And I never, until you just said it, I never really looked at it that closely of, we actually all do look at clothing. What am I going to wear today?
Exactly.
And how's it going to make me feel?
And I will add to that there is a particularity of being Black women that I think makes us hyper aware of how people are going to perceive us. And therefore, what we need to do, what choices we need to make about how we present ourselves based on what spaces we need to be navigating through, that I think makes us all kind of innately, those are choices that we make every single day.
Right.
Without thinking about it.
Without thinking. Exactly.
Costume designing ourselves for life. But that is kind of what we do.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely right. Because I can see myself now when I was coming up, like when Am I going to wear that? How are they going to look at me?
Exactly.
What are they going to think? Okay, I probably shouldn't wear that today. Maybe I'll try this. But you're right. When you say don't think about it, we think about it, but we don't think about it in the sense of it comes second nature for us to think about it. Put it that way.
Exactly. And so that, because it is second nature, it was so easy for me to utilize the way that my brain already thought about clothes and thought about appearance and turn that into a career path.
Right. Can you name some of the shows that you've done besides The Outsiders?
Yes, absolutely. I had a very busy season this year. So I also had The Who's Tommy, How to Dance in Ohio, The Preacher's Wife.
I saw. Keep going. I saw.
The Preacher's Wife in Atlanta at the Alliance. The Ballad of Johnny and June out in La Jolla.
Who directed The Preacher's Wife? I want
to. The Preacher's Wife was co-directed with Michael Arden and Tinashe Kajese-Bolden.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, wow.
So
you did have a big packed season.
I did.
So, okay, let me ask you this. With all those different shows of doing, that's a lot of research.
Yes.
And how do you find the time to do all those shows and all that research?
Yes. I knew this year was going to be really packed.
Okay.
So I tried as much as I could to front load before any of the shows started in rehearsal, so that by the time it was the first of 6 musicals in a row, kind of back to back. So I tried to make sure that by the time the very first one started, I had gotten almost all of my research and pre-production complete.
Okay.
So that when I was in rehearsal, in fittings, in tech, in previews, I could really be present for each show in the process, because it's so important.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Recognitions, awards, any? Come on.
The one that was the most notable and most exciting was getting a Tony nomination for Colored Girls.
Yay! So that too.
2022. That was my second Broadway show ever that I designed. So it was really incredible.
Congratulations for that. Congratulations for that. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to ask, what would you say to a student, someone, they can be in college, they could be in a trade school, or not even in either, but have, I think what you just said, a love of just like putting together an outfit. And, would you say to them, if that's a passion, maybe you can pursue it and see if this is a field that you want to go into? Like, what would you say to them?
Absolutely. I think being able to recognize what about putting an outfit together excites you. Like what I said previously, the figuring out how I wanted to present to people, that was the part that excited me, in addition to just, of course, liking pretty clothes and fabrics.
Right.
I think being able to look into that for yourself and figure out what it is about it, because I think liking putting an outfit together, there's so many different ways that you can turn that into a career path. Costume design is one of them. It's so much about storytelling and about character and being able to articulate character and a character arc.
Right.
But there's also fashion design. There's also styling.
Right.
There's also wardrobe. There's so many different paths if you like clothes that will keep you in close contact with that. And so I think figuring out which part of the liking clothes is the part that excites you can help you figure out, is it that I like the storytelling aspect? Then maybe I need to be looking into costume designing. Is it that I really like to just actually put together a really sharp looking outfit that doesn't necessarily have to carry the weight of character and storytelling? then maybe you're talking about styling.
Right.
For editorials, for fashion shoots, for magazines, for commercials. Those are all career paths that are very closely related to that initial desire of wanting to work with clothing.
Right, right. I'm so happy you're doing this design initiative with Black Theater United.
Likewise.
What do you think, is this necessary, what we're doing? Is it necessary for our industry?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is so important, first of all, I think, for young people of color to be able to see themselves in the industry. And so I'm so glad that you all are doing this initiative so that you can show the people who are already doing it, so that younger folks can look at us and be able to identify, oh, there's someone who looks like me who's already doing this. That means that if they're doing it, I can do it. Right. I remember once I started to think about costume design as a career, and I started to look into, okay, well, who's doing this right now? When I found Paul Tazwell and Tony Leslie James and Emilio Sosa, that was so exciting to me as a young person to be able to look at the industry and see people already doing it, and having marvelous careers. Right. But even aside from that, just in terms of the quality of the art, I think, is only improved by having multiple viewpoints, multiple backgrounds, multiple stories to be told. And so I think for that reason, it's so important to have as many of us from as many different paths as possible contributing to the stories that we're telling. Just makes for better work all around.
And you went right into my last question. That's great. That's great. Well, I want to say thank you, Sarafina, for taking us through your journey and giving us an insight of costume design.
Thank you, Lisa Dawn, for having me.
Thank you all for joining us. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and our website at blacktheaterunited.com. Black Theater United, creating pipelines for you, the future of our industry.